How about we pull the power over here instead of coming off of our box up by the road department, road shed? Like if we go over here, it'll save you money. And so we had them go over on the other side, and that's what I did is I had them put that power box with the connection so they can take that power down the backside of Kai's property and tie it down low. So
Good.
So we got it kind of for a future expansion of that line
No.
down there.
We don't charge people to put their trailers there, do
Not
we?
yet. We don't have any mechanism to do it. This year we'll just
Yeah.
see how it works.
Is this
And in the
commissioner
future,
present?
Kara mentioned that everywhere she goes, they typically, it'll be like $25 to just hook up to the power, but if you
No, I
want
couldn't
full
wait, but I
services,
just,
it's like
I just
$5 a
prepared in
day
case.
that they have to pay. And so
Is he
for
on the
us,
way,
it's just
you
like,
know?
well, let's just try it this year and just see how it works. See if it's accepted by the public. And some people like to bring their trailers in, families, put them to back, so both doors are kind of out in the center fire pit. And so I don't know. We'll see how it works. But Kara's like, I don't wanna run it and manage it. And so Anna will probably be the same thing. If we task it to economic development in the future and just have them do a reservation system. But right now it's just first come, first serve. We just gotta find a way to pay for the utilities
Yeah.
in the future, and that's why we would charge just a nominal fee to cover that. I don't know. Commissioner Harvey's on his way. We might as well start.
No, Jamie, huh?
No, Jamie. Oh, their mouse. Two nieces.
Do we know where he's at?
Rosa's texting him. Might as well start without him. Sure. Here in a couple minutes.
So you want me to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in charge all day long.
Okay, so 11:07, and it's time for us to get started and call the meeting to order, and we're gonna have a roll call. Mac is here, Commissioner Adam is here, myself, and Lyman Duncan is here, and so we would like to ask for a volunteer to say the invocation. Do we have any volunteers?
All right, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Dear Father, dear, I'm grateful for this opportunity to come before thee at this time. We pray that the Spirit may be here to direct and guide us in the affairs of the county and to better serve those who reside in this county and to help it move forward in the way, because you mentioned maybe as we move into the future, all that thou provides for us in this beautiful land and area that we have to live in. Help us see these things and we discuss them.
Amen.
Amen.
Sir.
Would you stand up and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anybody need to declare any conflict of interest?
Have none.
I don't have any. I'll turn the time to Matt for public comments.
Not seeing anybody signed up on the schedule to present here in person. Let me check and see. There is nobody online. So that would be your public comment period for today. Pretty easy.
Okay, and we'll turn the time to Mac also for the consent agenda.
Okay, so on today's consent agenda, you have the approval of the May 21st, 2024 Commission work meeting minutes. You have the approval of the May 21st, 2024 Board of Commission meeting minutes. You have approval of $8,122 in small purchases, $4,000 for the pharmacy laboratory freezer in San Juan Public Health, and then $4,122 for infectious disease epidemiology. It's an online course that an employee is taking there. You have the approval on item 4 of the April 14th to May 20th, 2024 check registers. Then a new one, you have the approval of the January 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2024 financial statements. This is now something that's required by state code, and our independent auditors picked it up and says, hey, you need to bring the actual financial statements to commission meeting for the approval. And so you'll see those, you've seen them in your packets that we've sent out. It gives you kind of a look at what the expenditures overall look like in their operational budgets. And so hopefully we can avoid some of the problems in the past by taking a look at those to see where the departments are. In there's a column that shows the actual expenditures and then kind of an average of, you know, their total budget, where they should be at in those statements. And so take a look at those. If you have any questions, let me know, but it's kind of gives you a glance at the overall financial status year to date on there. So that today is your items for approval on the consent agenda.
Mac, are those two large purchases from San Juan Public Health, were those items that were budgeted for?
In the small purchase items? Correct. Yep, they're all contracted. The pharmacy laboratory freezer is state of Utah is helping us with that on their contract, as well as the epidemiology.
They were in his budget
Yes, correct.
last year. Okay. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
All in
So-
favor? All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You say aye. Okay, so now we have item number 6, and we had Nick Sundberg to present us.
Yep, so on this one here is consideration and approval of mine proposed modifications, section 106, consulting party status. Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You may recall that Lisbon Valley Mining Company is
Mhm.
proposing an expansion of their mining operations. And the county did accept cooperating agency status for that EIS process. Well, BLM has also offered us section 106 consulting party status for the section 106 process for that mine modification plan. So this letter before you basically accepts or requests that San Juan County be a consulting party in the 106 process. So I just recommend that you approve the letter so that we can participate in the 106 process also.
I make a motion to accept the invitation for 106, invitation on the Lisbon Valley Mine Plan and Operation Modification.
I'll second it. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any comments or questions? None? Thank you.
Okay, the next one is consideration and approval of the draft Bears Ears Monument Plan comments.
You probably also recall that BLM has opened the draft Bears Ears plan and EIS for a 90-day public comment period, which is ongoing through June 11th. So the letter before you contains comments that county and county staff have made, and also with input from Flipco staff as comments on this draft plan. And San Juan County has been a cooperating agency in this process throughout since its beginning a couple of years ago. So basically the letter has comments that the county would offer and submit for this draft plan, and I would recommend that you approve the letter and we send the comments.
Nick, did we make comments on the cell tower communication?
I added on that first page, number 2,
Okay,
includes infrastructure that may be needed,
Okay.
such as cell towers and that sort of thing.
okay.
Do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the letter on the draft Bears Ears Monument Plan.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any questions or other comments? Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
That's a lot of work that Nick does on this. I sure appreciate all of his help as he goes through and digests what they've done and gives the comments on there. It's been
Thank you so much.
super awesome.
He uses federal language rather than cowboy language.
He does. Not a swear word in sight. Yeah, all right. So number 8, consideration and approval of a criminal and juvenile justice 2025 state task force grant between Utah Commission and San Juan Commission and San Juan County Sheriff's Office. I'm going to turn the time over to Task Force Commander Jake Gay.
Good morning.
Good
So
morning.
this year is it's an annual grant that the Major Crimes and Drug Task Force with the Sheriff's Office applies for every year. It's been annual since the year 2000, and this focus is mostly on illicit drug use and other crime issues. Also, the reduction of illegal drug activity through education, prevention, and treatment. So through the grant, you can see the itemized breakdown of how the funds would be spent. There's no fiscal impact to the county, but the only thing is that the county would have to initially pay for the spending, which is reimbursed every quarter by the grant. So, and I recommend your consideration and approval.
That total grant is 70,000, Jay?
70,000, yes.
Yeah, it's gone up a little, hasn't it?
It's been the same since, so this is my 4th year being the commander. It's been
Okay.
the same since for all 4 years. So we ask for more, but they don't give us more.
Well, it needs to go up then.
I know. They determine it by our population. That's how.
Of course.
It's not good.
They tell them how big our county is.
Yeah.
Is it summertime population or wintertime
I know.
population?
Yeah, they don't take our summertime.
All right. I'll make a motion that we approve the Criminal Justice State Task Force Grant.
And I'll second. And all in favor?
Aye.
I have some comments.
Yeah.
As I read this, I like the idea about the training. I think we travel as commissioner to training.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important that we get out of San Juan County to go and network and learn what other people are doing, other organizations, and And as I look at the budget where the money's going, I thought I like that everybody has, many of you had the opportunity to go and get training and
Yeah.
and also reading all these things you guys encounter. It's kind of like reading a novel, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you for your service, not only with this grant, but
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah, we
you know.
appreciate that. Yep.
you can stand the thanks to everybody else, because sometimes we have no idea all the things you guys encounter, and we appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I will pass that along. So,
Okay.
and
Thank
Thank
so
you,
much.
Jay.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, so moving on to item number 9, consideration and approval of the notice of award for San Juan County Administration Building Heating System Improvements to Red Mechanical. This one here, we had issued a request for proposal back in April 30th. Received the proposal, we received two proposals, one very high from a company out of Salt Lake City, the other one here local that was a little bit more reasonable, and so we had selected Red Mechanical Incorporation, their proposal for this to be awarded. In our proposal, there was 2 pieces to it. One just to replace the boiler itself, which our boiler has aged out years and years ago. And then the other was to replace the piping and everything through the building. And so you kind of see 2 different proposals in there, 2 different options in their actual proposal. We'll kind of see where we're at with ARPA funds at the end of the day. That'll give us a determination of whether or not we can afford the 571, where we just entered in or we're working with Tri-Hearst on some of these other building improvement projects. We just got to make sure all of the stars align and the money works out, but for sure we would be going after that 138,000 for the boiler replacement. We did receive a state of Utah grant from SHPO, so the State Historic Preservation grant for the replacement of that boiler, and received those funds. And so either way, we do have some funds there on the state
How
grant
much was
for
the
the
grant?
boiler. It was, if I remember right, it was around 120, something like that. And so every little bit kind of helps.
But the grand total on this thing was gonna be 710,000.
It would be, the total would be 571,000 to do everything in there, and then we just have them separate. Well, if you just do the boiler alone
But it says that
on there,
It's
the
called-
total services is 571 with alternative one, then it says grand total 700.
710. The other one was up in the $1 million range.
We need to stack 20 tough sheds out here and make a new building.
That's funny. Yes, that would be nice. But the piping within the building is
So
pretty old as
Well-
well.
will that be be one service to serve everything, or you still have to kind of have more than?
It's all kind of separate. We still all have separate. When we looked at, and so we had a mechanical engineer come through and give us the price tag on a Cadillac heating system. So that would be taking off all of the exterior units and combining it into one standardized heating system with thermostats in every room. That we just kind of ruled out. We cannot afford that. And that's the difficult when you take an old historic building and you add on to it and keep on adding on to it, then you lose kind of a centralized heating and cooling distribution system like a new building would get you. But to go backwards in that, we've done specific heating and air conditioning units to different departments in this building. So the downstairs is on a different unit, and the economic development in their old space, that's a separate unit, separate from the assessors and DMV unit. Clerk auditors have their own.
And you have
Recorders
your own.
have their own.
You-
I share with Rosa
I
and
know.
Tammy
It's called
on
a
this wing
window.
with the commission chambers.
You have
And
your.
so they're all kind of different. And so It would be nice to centralize that. Price tag is unattainable.
Yeah,
for
no,
us.
I was just curious, and
Yep.
I think it's nice to have some money to do some
some of these
improvements.
fixes. Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Especially with heating and air, and that's kind of what I'd mentioned with the ARPA funds. It does qualify for creating a healthy, breathable air system for your employees and for the public, and so it qualifies for those funds. It's just a matter of trying to juggle, the stairs and everything that we have outside, the trip hazards that need to be getting improved. And
We couldn't tear
Yes.
this building down because it's a historic
it's
building,
a historic
right?
building. I would always keep this.
So-
I would take off the elephant on this back half, restore this, and then do another building. We talked about in the past is potentially partnering with the city in a new building back on our property here, but it's all money.
We just need to win the lottery.
Yes,
That
absolutely.
gambling.
Or just more mineral extraction is really what you need, and so.
We trying. We're trying.
Absolutely. Back
I'll
in the
make-
day.
Make a
yes.
motion to give notice of award for the administration building heat system improvements to Red Mechanical.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any more questions or comments?
What's going to determine whether you can do the total package, Mac?
Once we get the cost estimates back from Trihurst on the other projects.
Oh, okay.
We can't overspend.
So this is only Red Mechanical.
Correct, yep. And so Trihurst, we met with Trihurst last week, and they're looking at some of those projects to see how much those will cost.
Your steps
And
and stuff.
then, the steps out front. We've
So
got the
whatever's
trip
left
hazards.
over from that, we can use
Mhm.
more here.
We've got the roof membrane repair here on this roof. We were going to replace that. The hideout's roof repair over there was part of that. And so just various odds and end projects. Once we have their cost estimate and finalize the contract with Trihurst, will tell us how much money we have left over for this. We do have kind of an emergency out there in our project list where the Cow Black energy system is failing. The HVAC system, we've got a HVAC technician running out there on an emergency today to try to figure out what's going on with the HVAC. We had blown some of our transformers that are out on that solar panel system, so now they're on generator power, have been for a little while. We replaced the solar panel batteries a couple months ago. That hasn't stabilized the system, so we might need some money to go towards that out there. The state of Utah had mentioned that they would step in to help us, but we're still trying to work through, okay, what does that help look like and how much. That project alone is $200,000 to get. And I talked to you about this before, is the state is requesting that we separate the operations building from the actual runway itself, so that if there is a problem, the runway doesn't necessarily go down. The generators really aren't tied into the system. If the power goes down, staff have got to run out to the generator, flip a switch and turn it on. Typically in a transfer emergency power situation, it's an automatic transfer. So if the power goes off of one, that generator automatically kicks on. It doesn't take somebody to go out and manually start a generator. We have 2 backup generators out there that are aged out of the system as well, and so they're recommending the generator be a new power generator, backup generator. So the whole system is nearing death, and so I've been working on that all day yesterday to try to figure out how to keep that operation going. And so stay tuned. That's the latest emergency that we're working on, but we might have to allocate some of those funds to this, and so we don't want to go for this whole package and eat up in excess of what we have remaining of the ARPA funds.
That makes sense.
I know, crazy.
Okay, so
Did we vote on that?
I don't know. Did you vote on that one? Can you remember?
I thought
voting?
we voted.
I think you okay. All right. So if that's the case, we
We
are
have so
now.
many items we haven't.
We're getting lost. So item number 10, consideration and approval for the San Juan Counseling Area Plan updates for the year 2024 to 2025 in accordance with Utah Code Title 17, Chapter 43. We have Aaron Duke here, the deputy for San Juan Counseling, here to give us the updates on the plan.
Okay. Good morning. First of all, Tammy apologizes that she couldn't be here. You're stuck with me.
Perfect.
A couple of changes to the plan is that it went from a 1-year plan to a 3-year plan. As far as the plan itself, there's not a lot that has changed. We had the state come down and do their site visit. They identified any discrepancies or findings. We've come up with corrective action plans. Two of the things that we need to highlight are with our prevention and the easy checks. While we don't know own the easy checks, that's law enforcement. We're running into some barriers in collaborating with them to make sure that that gets done. We own and are in charge of making sure that those get done, but the local law enforcement agency actually owns those. So some of the rationales that they've given is they don't believe that they work, and they don't want to dedicate additional manpower to doing those. So we're still working with them to provide the cubs to go in and do the checks. We're doing what we can within our power to make sure that those happen so that we are hitting things upstream as far as prevention goes. Of course, the other major change is going from a 1-year to a 3-year plan. Even the budget is fluid from year to year, but Tammy has taken the last year's data and projected it out for 3 years on what we might need. So that's the other major change as far as that's concerned. Other than that, things are fairly status quo. We're finally fully stuffed as far as our clinicians and therapists and our providers, and so we're looking to build and maintain programs here over the next 3 years and hire additional people as programs are developed and come about. So those are the major change to the plans.
I don't have any questions.
No question.
I'll make a motion that we approve the San Juan Counseling Area Plan update for years 24 and 25.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Who do I get a John Hancock from?
Thank you so much
Rosa will get it in there. So
for coming and for all you do. Thank you.
okay. Let's see. The last item on your agenda is the consideration and discussion regarding the Northern San Juan County Fire District annexation. I wanted to present this today where we were so light on the agenda. We would typically have this in a work session, but it's like, well, let's forgo the work session and we'll just pull it in a regular commission meeting. The premise behind this is currently we contract with Moab Fire District to provide fire response coverage in northern San Juan County. Every year we send them just over $40,000 a year to cover this for us. What the thought is having this area incorporate. They're a fire district. Moab Valley Fire is the fire district there, and with that district's creation, they're able to assess a fee to those properties that are within that annexed area. And so the thought behind this is, well, how about you annex a portion of San Juan County in there, especially that portion that you're responding to, and then they can assess those property owners that live in this area. When we tried to place a volunteer fire station in Spanish Valley, a lot of the public there locally had heartburn with that, primarily because on a volunteer system, your insurance, your home insurance rates are higher, then they are a full-time fire district. And Moab Valley Fire, where they've been doing that and covering that for us, all of a sudden going back to the volunteer would increase people's insurance rates. And so, but yet, meanwhile, as the county, we still pay Moab Fire for that coverage, yet we don't pay Monticello City, Blanding, any of those others for 100% coverage and response. And so we've been working with Moab Valley Fire Protection to kind of create an annex plan and an annex map of what areas that they would cover, and that's what this map represents. And so on here, you can kind of see at the northern piece of this property, the border between Grand and San Juan, you see the Spanish Valley areas that they would then cover all the way up along the highway. And you kind of see these areas in blue and gray. Those are the areas of the residential pockets. And so the little communities that are out there that they would still cover, they would then assess them their fee for that coverage, and then they'd be able to collect that fee from those property owners up until this area. And so the area kind of goes up to LaSalle Junction, just a little bit past to capture your Wilson Arch area, and then just beyond that junction right there. It doesn't go all the way into LaSalle. We do have a LaSalle Fire Department and an old LaSalle Fire Department that is in here.
So it's a volunteer. LaSalle has a volunteer.
LaSalle is volunteer under our umbrella. Yep. Yes. And so Moab Valley Fire would take care of all of this in the annexation plan. If you're fine with this, we'll continue to proceed with them. The next step is they would actually have the annex plan document that we would be then signing and giving them the authority to create this district in their area. I kind of liken this to no difference with what we do with the school district and Spanish Valley, where we have a piece carved out that is actually under Grand County School District's umbrella for Spanish Valley students that are directly right there in Spanish Valley. And so it's the border between counties doesn't really matter when you create these annexed fire districts or districts in general. And so if you're still okay with this direction, we've spoken with Commissioner Adams, and he's helped with us meeting with this, as well as individuals on Grand County Commission as well. They're okay with heading this direction and incorporating it into Moab Valley Fire.
Well, we're so far away. How did we get there in time?
Correct. Yep. Yep.
And then we have to get, if we have our own, we have to have buildings, we have to have.
Yep.
So
yeah, and they didn't want the fact that when we looked at having a building there, we had, with the ARPA funds, you could place a small garage there, and we have equipment that we could put there, but the citizens there were pretty adamant that this would affect their insurance. So either way it'll affect them. It's either coming out of their insurance, or it's going to be a fee that then they will then have to start paying to Moab Valley Fire. But it doesn't put a burden on any of the taxpayers throughout the county to provide, just those residents under the coverage.
There will be some tax for the fire district.
For the fire district,
In
they'll
that part
come
that's
to
being
those.
annexed, right?
Yep,
It's
just those
kinda like
property owners in there.
when the school district annexed the school properties in San Juan to be paid to Grand County
Correct.
School District.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, and they will incorporate our volunteers in Spanish Valley
they already have.
into that already.
Yep. Yeah, we have 2 volunteers. Well, they're not volunteers, they're full-time firefighters. They help to get them trained, and they're a part of that
Yeah.
Moab Valley Fire system already. We have an asset there, a truck that they respond to. They've also asked for a tender or a little truck with a tank on it, so that they could respond quicker They're right there in the area and sometimes can respond a little bit quicker. They responded to the accident that happened last week with the collision with the motorcycle.
Bluegill,
Yeah, yep.
Was that a
Right at the bottom of
motorcycle
Blue Hill.
accident?
motorcycle and a pickup.
And pickup.
Any death or anything?
There was.
Well, you
Local-
get a 61-year-old woman on a motorcycle.
I know.
Yeah, in a truck. Yeah, it was a fatality, and they responded, and that's where the request with
They only had 3 fire extinguishers. And that motorcycle was on fire, and they used them, and it still burned.
Oh dear.
And
Sad.
so
Sad. Huh?
this would mean that Moab Valley Fire, under this annexation, once it's approved, all of the assets and everything would come out of Moab Valley Fire, and if they needed more, obviously, then that assessment fee that will be assessed to these citizens under this coverage will then be a little bit higher as well, just to cover the cost. But with the savings that they would incur from not going to a volunteer fire system, should be a wash, but it still allows them that coverage.
I'll make a motion to allow the Moab Fire Department, Moab Grand County, isn't it?
Moab Valley Fire
Moab
Protection.
Valley Fire Protection District to annex into Grand and San Juan County and cover up to Wilson Arch area.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you have any more questions?
No, we will bring this back with a complete annexation plan document
Okay.
that then goes to the tax commission after that, and so we should have all that complete. But this also brings up a kind of a lead into what do we do throughout the county with our fire. Been in discussions with the Bluff individuals. We've got to get a little bit better organized with our fire here.
We have something in Mexican Hat with who they we
We
contract.
do. We have a fire station in Mexican Hat. The Navajo Nation has also approached us on taking over the fire departments in Monument Valley and Montezuma Creek, which we oversee. They provided some of the engines in those buildings. It's Navajo residents that are the volunteers there, and so we'll try to meet with them and see what their ask is. The property that we have there, like Monument Valley, is leased property from the school district, and so we can't just turn around and give the Navajo Nation the property. We can certainly work with them on the assets, the engines and everything that we have in there, but they own some of them as well. They helped us establish those firehouses years and years ago. But if they want to take over operations, it makes sense for them to operate those. Then hopefully we can get a little bit better response more on the volunteer side of it, people signing up to run on those. So if the Navajo Nation takes down south, and then the Bluff fire staff has asked, they want to be in a special service district themselves, or the other thought is treat them like the other cities that we have here. Monticello and Blanding kind of run their own volunteer fire programs, and then we provide the assets in there. Part of the thought with Bluff is we would transfer the build of the stations to them and the fire equipment to them, and have the town of Bluff operate it its own, like Blanding and Monticello does. And the fire staff, they don't like that idea. They would rather be a special service district under the county. They want to hire a secretary that can kind of help them go after grants and things like that, which is fine. But under the county right now, umbrella, that would be another county employee, a part-time employee that the county would have to hire and insure. And so it just doesn't fit with what a local population is trying to do. But now you take Eastland and LaSalle, and Cedar Point, we have fire stations out there that we also oversee, and it's all a volunteer firefighter system. So if you remember what USIP said, as county, you can't have volunteers anymore. They're part-time employees. There's only part-time employees. Well, none of our volunteers on the fire program are part-time employees. We haven't brought them into that. So either we need to create special service districts for those areas, or bring them in as part-time employees and operate it a little bit better. When just speaking with Dave on this, we have some of them that have their own bank accounts. So LaSalle has their own bank account. Well, right now it's under the county umbrella. So now you have this illegal bank account out there that's not under the county treasurer. And if they want to do that, that's fine. If they want to do their own fundraising, that's fine. But if they're under the county umbrella, you need to bring it through the treasurer, through Dave, and have that in the law-abiding account. The only other opposite of that is you create a special service district and it covers that area, and they're their own. They can have their own board. Then they can manage their own program. They can still be a volunteer system if they want under that special service district. So I looked at several different counties to try to figure out what they're doing. Emory is set up in special service districts. Obviously, you have Moab Valley Fire is their own special service district, and there was King County just created a bunch of special service districts for their fire, and I think I'd like to look at that approach just to see what that looks like. The costs are going to be the same right now through the interlocal agreements that we have the city. If they respond to a fire outside of the town limits, city limits, then the county is supposed to provide funds for that, reimbursement of that. So we need to get a little bit better with the cities looking at that. Is if they respond outside first, there should be some communication between the county and the city before they respond. Blanding, for example, was where we have our equipment there. It's if you're responding outside of the city limits, don't charge us for your equipment unless that's what you're taking. Take ours first, and that way we don't have to pay the rental fee for you using yours and not using ours. And so there's some things that we've got to work through on that organization, but if it is outside of that in county unincorporated areas, we will still have to provide funds for that. We do have to kind of, the reason I like the special service districts throughout is getting a little bit more organized in that program, especially when it comes to training and a capital program. So one of these fire engines supposed to be replaced, and how long can we go without replacing them? Getting the tires replaced every 7 years. And so fixing that program so that we can anticipate those costs. In the interlocal agreement, the cities and the county we're going to match, is the cities are supposed to be putting $15,000 a year in the account, and the county was going to match that $15,000. So we had to have $30,000 a year going into a bank account, collecting interest for this future capital need. Well, none of that's taken place. We haven't sent any money to account. So I start to worry about not today necessarily, but the future, not having it an organized program. We will still always have to do the wildland firefighting response, and so we're always going to have a fire component, but I'd like to try to professionalize our system a little bit more and see what assets we can have. And kind of, when I was talking to TJ about it, is treat it more like a business model instead of a volunteer model, to where we can make some income. If we go on these federal fires, you can make money. So a lot of counties have a task force that they can send on federal fires, and they're literally paying for their equipment on these federal fires. Now, it takes a lot of federal fires to make it useful, but on a voluntary system, you're not going to get somebody that has a full-time job wanting to head to California for 2 weeks, give up their full-time job vacation just to head to California to help them to make us money. And so we've got to work through some of that to see what we can do to try to get a little bit better organized and a little bit more professional throughout the system. And so if it's okay with you, I'd like to kind of explore that to see if it's a better system. I know Bluff is asking for that. They wouldn't be happy if the town took it over. But I think the way that we've treated the cities here, by rights, should be the first call for the town, whether or not they want to absorb that or have it be under the county still as a special service district.
But does the firefighters get the same benefit as the ambulance, with the insurance?
The first responders, it's an ambulance. It's a volunteer ambulance program that was approved by the state
Okay,
legislators.
But they didn't, at one time they were talking about extending that to the firefighters.
I hope, yeah, and we can push that this next legislative
Yeah,
session to see
yeah.
if we can get that taken care of. Because I know, I had them re-announce that this last week in their training, and even just from that re-announcement, we had one individual sign up for that, and so especially where they've taken and added to where families can also participate in it.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
such a good deal. I
Yeah,
mean, it is
yep.
a good deal.
absolutely, super huge discount on it, and so it would be nice if they would extend that to the firefighters, especially if we have to start bringing them on as part-time employees. So that's kind of where we're at with that fire program. And
Well, thank you.
other than that, the last agenda item on here is your commission reports.
Do you want to go first, Commissioner?
Yeah, I don't have much. I'm leaving today to go north. We have USIP retreat in Duchesne the rest of the week.
Okay.
So I'll be leaving today and coming home on Friday. And not sure I have anything else. Let me look real quick at my calendar. I said USIP, I meant CIB.
I have a question about the, well, I'll ask you later. It's something else. Anyway,
Yeah, CIB's this week, so. And that's all I have to report.
okay, I'm gonna talk about my miscellaneous. I used to just talk about the trainings and things like that, but one of the program that we had a presentation with the 7 counties about a program called Wood for Life, and it's a program from Forest Service where they have group of individuals that come and collect the wood and then they distribute to the Native American population. So I've been working trying to get to the Blue DNA, which is not a chapter, but it's an organization, Native American organization, and they have a fenced area where they can have wood for the winter, so everybody can come there and get the wood. And also, I'm working with Oljedo, trying to connect them with Wood for Life. And we talked a lot about forest land and things like that. We had the opportunity last month to go to California and see, with our own eyes what happened when you have fires and the trees are still standing, all the burned trees are still standing, and there's so much fuel. I mean, they said that it's supposed to be about 25%, they have about 400%, and they talk about all those people that live among that area, they cannot get fire insurance. And lots of time when we talk about land around here and closing roads, and I just think about seeing that devastation there and in those nice area and how they look with those trees still standing up and it's not being cleaned up. It's kind of sad. Another project that we have been working is to get a grant from the Commissioner Harvey and myself are both members of the, had to think that, okay, the NRF, which is Navajo Rehabilitation Fund, and the library system needed some computers, and we were able to apply for computers, for 4 computers to be placed in Montezuma Creek Library. Another thing I've been working for over almost a year, not quite a year, is about a splash pad. And I learned a lot about splash pad. I learning their presentation for the city of Blanding, I applied for the grant, and then they need a little more information, and so I went to the city of Blanding, and they had some questions, so that we, been doing more research about what it entails to own a splash pad. And the more I call people around to see how they like it, I find out that people like it, that families like it, everybody likes it. Administrators don't like it because when you get something and grants, then you have to worry about how you're going to maintain it. And so I continue to work trying to get more new partners. I think probably won't happen this year, but I was encouraged by the grant and the letter I just received to continue to work. And when we have I think they wanted the support from the city, and we have some support from the city. Some people question, okay, how are we going to pay for this, whatever. But so we'll continue to work with that. Another thing, I've been working with the organization UNAMI, and UNAMI works with their minerals that produce energy. And like I said before, we got some money to do a curriculum. We got $50,000 for the college to do curriculum development for 11 and 12th grade, so they can learn about mining, anything that they had to do with that area. They will produce material for future energy. And so we're going to be meeting this week about to see how the curriculum is going, and myself and somebody at the college, we kind of over that, and they're bringing some ideas, like to our area. They wanted to create opportunity for business, and they write grants, and they do studies and things like that. So I usually don't try to say what they're going to say. I just facilitate the opportunity for them to come, and so they're going to be here next week. I have other projects I have been working, but I want to talk about something I've been doing lately, and that's crying. I've been crying for America. I live in Argentina, in a beautiful place, amazing place. I live with an American family, and they talk about freedoms, the freedoms we have here in America. And I couldn't understand. It's like I was in a valley, and they were talking from the top of the mountain. I couldn't see the freedom that they talk about. When we landed in Miami, and this was in the good old days where you didn't worry about, you just walk through the airport, and so it's winter, middle of the winter when I left Argentina, got to Miami, a beautiful summer day. And if a freedom had a scent, I smell it. It was amazing. in my country, by the time I was a little girl, I was never allowed to say what we spoke in the home. But you never knew who was what and what's going to happen to you. This is not about candidates. This is not about who wins. This is about what we have lost, what we're losing. And I see here, only one person comes all the time, and I think it's sad because we are busy and preoccupied with lots of good things, and we don't have time to watch for what's happening. And so I felt that scent that I felt when I first came to America. I felt like it's fading away, and it because I had lived in a different type of government, and in my church, half of the people were American. I used to watch them with fascination because they had a certain air with confidence, and they were proud of themselves in a good way, everything in a good way. And so I just want to offer my sentiments. Do you know the flag behind? I didn't grow up with a flag behind. But when I was a little girl, I saw in the floor a little pocket that somebody was sewing. They had a white with a red and blue. And I went and picked it up, and I held it in my hand. And I had no idea. But it was something inside me that gave me a feeling toward those colors. Anyway, so I just, whoever's listening, we need to keep the America the words given to us. And I don't know which each of our role is. I guess for me it's a little bit just to cry and feel kind of sad because I have those memories, and I so grateful. I think we need to have a gratitude in our heart for the opportunity we had to live in a land like this, and had to find ways to preserve that for the future generations. And I leave this with you, and so grateful for the opportunity I have to serve you each day, and thank you. So we have one more motion to make.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh man, thank you. We did it. I mean,